The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
Okay, yes.
It was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Okay, we're talking about the Kibo's flashlight.
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now, hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Okay, I don't think that was it, and I don't think I'm gonna agree with that. So let me see what else I can say. It's true that with a little light, you can move around under the floor. Is that possible? What do you mean, is that possible?
The culprit sneaked in during the seance. Like,
Case child, dark place with no light. Turn off all the lights, completely dark. Are we supposed to use this to say that it was completely dark so we would have seen the light?
Under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance.
Or the hole in the corner, maybe? It's one of
How could
these.
they even...
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see,
Our villain,
we had a light. Light? You mean candle? I mean,
Kibo.
the flashlight function.
Huh?
Now, hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that
Function to get under the
floor.
Is that it? No? No, I wanted to say that the light could have gone through that
the culprit sneaked
and
in.
been visible.
Crawling under the floor. Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light. Light? You mean candle? I mean, Kibo's flashlight function. Huh? Now, hold on a second. Kibo could have used that function
To get up.
Get under the floor. Maybe I just shot at the wrong one. I think that's the case.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance.
by crawling under the floor. Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see,
Villain had a
Okay,
light.
I was right. Good. Just shot the wrong one.
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
Exactly. Even if that hole wasn't there, I think we still would have seen light in pitch darkness. It would have gone through the cracks in the floorboards since they weren't nailed
The
down.
room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot.
I wonder if there's more to that. I wonder if there's more to it than... Could Kibo be the mastermind? Like, if I'm continuing with my opinion of the Kokichi being the true protagonist, and Kokichi knowing all, and every one of his actions has a deeper meaning to it, could the reason that he's always accusing Kibo be because Kibo actually is the mastermind, and Kibo actually is evil in some way? It's a bit of a long shot, but you never know.
My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Ah! It's blinding everyone.
Not with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Gonta think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Yeah, very smart, Gonta, and I agree.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that. That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna ignore it.
the first case of Danganronpa 2.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
I mean, I guess, but she was told to be quiet.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
Well, when is not too hard. It's when all the lights were out, I'm sure.
When? So not during seance?
It couldn't have been any other time.
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she?
Could she have left the cage? For some reason?
How could
On her
someone
own?
have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
No, we saw her being put in the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
Okay, my random thoughts were like if she was part of the Angie seance and already understood what kind of thing was gonna happen. Or something. Yes, the phone no return, you mustn't speak. Yeah. Will not say a word until it's over. And yeah, we couldn't see what was happening because of that cover.
She was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
Wait a second. Well, her voice could have been mimicked after the cover was put on by Kibo, I guess, right? That was possible. We know that Kibo has a voice recording and replaying functionality. Huh.
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
How could it have been a different time?
A different time?
In a short amount of time when the room was light?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads. Huh? Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory.
Okay, hold on. Can I read about the seance ritual again? And about what would make it not work? Okay, 5 people, dark place with no light, draw the circle. Place the cage over them. Stand in the corners of the room. Okay. What's this? At last, oh yeah, this was the song that we sung. So what I'm thinking of is, could it have been that because somebody was underneath the floorboards already, the seance didn't work, and then when the lights were turned on, then suddenly they were able to see, and then they killed her? And she didn't say anything until that point? So like in the short amount of time where the lights were turned on and then we uncovered her, she was killed? But I think we immediately saw blood after getting a view of it. So I don't know.
Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
Okay, here we go again. Another non-stop debate. Marcus 09 cage, blah blah blah. Why she died the
When
second
Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time.
Hold on, let me take a look at the white sheet again. Blood on the back around the middle of the sheet, but there's no hole in the fabric. Yeah, okay.
She was under the cage the whole time.
Uh-huh.
She was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Ooh, like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tanko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It's tinkling her brain.
Me.
Her golden brain.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
There's
No.
no
Let me just get my health back here. Tenko not being killed during the seance. That might not be impossible, but there's no evidence for it.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the...
Let me take a look at all these evidence items. Iron cage, 3 feet high, 5 feet wide. Blood on the bottom of the cage and also on the... Hold on. Wait a second. I just realized an inconsistency. How is there blood on this part of the cage? And there's blood on the inside. There's blood on the inside of the sheet. That makes sense. Someone stabs her in the back of the neck. The blood goes, you know, like in some samurai film where they get stabbed and then suddenly they're pressurized. Their blood is like pressurized at like 1,000 psi. It starts shooting out like a jet. You know, it's something like that, right? That's possible. But then, what about this? The cage, the metal cage. Oh no, actually, sorry. I'm thinking of this backwards. For some reason, I thought that the white sheet was like in front of the iron cage, but no, the white sheet was on top of the cage. So this is possible. So I'm dumb. Never mind. This is not any consistency. Bloody duct tape stuck to her hair on Angie's neck. I guess this was to prevent too much blood from spilling out in the crime scene. Yeah, that must have been it.
Seance.
It could not have been done at any other time.
What does the dog statue just have to say, actually? Oh, it's very heavy, okay. That's all it
She
says.
was under the cage the whole time.
And the sickle came from the Ultimate Assassin's lab, okay.
And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
Just getting some HP back, don't mind me.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Ooh, like that.
When Cage
Lifted, culprit stabbed.
stabbed Tanko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who
Lifted the cage.
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
I don't know what to say for this one. I don't think Himiko is the culprit, but I'm not sorry. That's not what I mean to say. I do think that Himiko is possibly the culprit, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be refuting here. Tenko's not being killed during the seance. Yeah, there's no evidence
When
for
Tenko got killed,
not being killed by the
wasn't
seance.
during the seance.
Am I supposed to lie here?
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
Sickle.
What about moment
Marker
Cage
stone?
was lifted?
How would I even lie about this? Let me look at the... Can I see that? I'm gonna keep going and then I'm gonna look over the transcript.
So fast, no one saw. So who lifted
Okay, can I? Okay, I can't see the transcript here. And there's no evidence for it. So I just have to look. I do have to read this more clearly.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
Yeah, she was, right? I don't think I have anything to refute that.
What about moment cage was lifted?
Moment cage was lifted.
Ooh, like that.
When cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Am I supposed to use the sickle on that one, maybe? I'm gonna try that. I have to try something after all.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the
Cage.
No!
And she was dead.
Darn
when
it!
The cage was lifted.
What about moment lifted?
When cage lifted, culprit stabbed.
Tenko real fast.
So fast, no one saw. So who lifted the cage?
Culprit!
There's no.
Okay, let's try not to miss this time because we don't have many more chances.
It wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the.
Oh, actually, that was the wrong one. I wanted to say do it to
It wasn't during the seance.
that was the wrong one to hit actually.
She was under the cage the whole time.
It was Gonta's one I wanted to fire at, right?
What about moment cage was lifted?
No.
Damn it!
Okay, I'm still wrong.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
I think I've got a loss here.
What about moment cage was lifted?
That was no, I barely survived. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh. So the white sheet somehow
No,
says that?
It wasn't possible to kill
Or
her the moment the cage was lifted.
goes against that?
Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it.
But how does that prove anything? We took the like the sheet off at the same time we took the cage off.
That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted.
Okay, but this is really confusing because I was thinking that they were saying that they were killed like before this point that we're looking at right now, because obviously they were not killed after the white sheet was removed. Because how could that make any sense? We'd see it. We'd see them getting stabbed if that happened. So that's just dumb. That's just a dumb thing to think that they would, that what we're considering now is that she was killed while the cloth was not on that thing, but she was still in the cage.
If Tenko was stabbed,
That's
dead,
why I didn't get
there
it.
wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
Like, I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to say there. I don't know what they were trying to get at. Like, were we really seriously considering that she was killed when that sheet was not on the thing? That the sheet was not on the cage? And the sheet being taken off somehow means, oh no, she couldn't have been killed in that span of time. Like, no, obviously she couldn't have been killed during that span of time. I was thinking they were referring to the span of time where the lights turned on, and we took off and maybe that we were busy taking off the statue, but the sheet was still on there. That's the time frame that I thought we were talking about, but apparently not. Apparently we were talking about the least likely and most ridiculous time frame that shouldn't have made any sense at all and should have been obvious that it made no sense at all. So that really confused
The
me.
only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here. No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
How?
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Alright, let's see. I forget how to do any of this, but I'll do my best.
Tenko died after.
What were Tenko's last moments about? The injury on the back of her neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. That's something that's really confusing. If she didn't die immediately, would she just still not say anything? I don't get it. I don't understand that. But let's not think about that right now.
It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage. They stuck the thin blade through the gaps of the cage. And that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps.
Well, she wasn't sitting, she was in a different position.
The person who lifted
That
the
what we're
sheet
trying to
is
say?
the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo.
This would be a hold muse logic somewhere. All I have to do is find the evidence. Okay.
The blade's all
Let me just get some HP back here. Iron cage.
If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage.
Hold on. Iron cage says that you couldn't sit up, right? No, there was something I thought where it said, yeah, 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. That might be what we're talking about here.
Enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Sitting down normally while she's in the cage? No, that should have worked. That should have worked.
The blade's all you need.
So I understand why. I understand that Tenko's last moments also says that she was in a crouched position. But the iron cage should also work because that was what when we understood the dimensions of the cage, we understood that there wouldn't be enough room for the blade to move in certain ways. So I don't know.
It'd be long enough
or for her to sit in certain ways.
Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
I'm not gonna shoot this yet. I'm just gonna gain more HP back before anything else because we have time.
In which case, the person who lifted
If I'm wrong, obviously that'll be a bad gamble, but I don't think I'm wrong, so it's fine.
The blade's all you need.
Getting back that health. It's a really slow health regeneration on this difficulty.
You stick the blade through a gap in the cage.
But that's okay.
It'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Slowly, man.
Far from the cage's gaps.
It's still a really good ability, but they definitely nerfed it compared to how it used to be. I understand why they did.
The blades all you need.
Also, I realize our focus bar gets completely reset
It'd be long enough to
in
reach
between
Tenko,
rounds.
sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case,
We're getting there.
the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo.
Wait, are we taking damage
The
from?
blade's all you need.
It makes it sound like we're taking damage, but I don't think we actually are.
It'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't
Okay, I think that's
far
enough
from the
health.
cage's gaps.
Let's actually just finish this
In
now.
which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo. The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko.
Here we go. All right, let's do it.
All exposed.
Wait, what? I'm still wrong? No way. How am I still wrong?
The blade's all you need.
Marker stone? Loose floorboard?
If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage,
how am I still wrong?
it'd be long enough to reach Tenko.
Okay, true.
Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Sitting in there. I'm supposed to
She
repeat
wasn't
sitting
that
in there.
far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit. And that's none other than Kyo.
What am I trying to say here
The blade's all you need.
in that case?
Stick the blade through a gap in the cage.
Marker stone, iron case, sickle
It'd
under
be
the
long
floor?
enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
But it was under the floor. Is that what we're trying to say? No, apparently not. What am I trying to say here? Darn it.
The blade's all you need.
Marker stone? I'm now
Stick the
thoroughly
blade through a gap
confused.
in the cage. It'd be
Long enough to reach
Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Okay, apparently the marker stone is what it's about. I don't get how, but alright.
Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone.
Okay. Okay. All of those things I picked said that. Well, not all of them, right? But specifically... Where is it? Specifically, this truth bullet itself, although it is called Tenko's Last Moments, maybe that's not as relevant. But it specifically says that she died in a crouched position. And right here, we're talking about how, oh, she was bent over in a crouched position. Like, we're using the same exact thing. And then the cage itself talked about how, like, the size of it and how, I don't know. I feel like at least the Last Moments one should have also been able to work here.
And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall.
And we're mentioning the cage's size again as well. Say, like, all of those things went into, basically say the same thing.
The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that
Yeah,
position.
you combine those 3 truth bullets into one, and yes, that is our argument. So why was only one of those 3 truth bullets the right answer? I don't agree with that.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
This is true.
Yeah, no worries.
How embarrassing!
Oh no, I think she likes that.
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed
She
through the
sometimes
cage.
reminds me of Darkness from Konosuba. Impossible for Tenko to have been killed right through the cage. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Not with the weapon not with the sickle.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
No, we just talked about the floorboards earlier. What are you
If she was
talking about?
killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Have we completely forgotten about the floorboard thing?
During the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Okay, we haven't forgotten about below the floor. It's just, for some reason, we really don't believe that it's possible that the floorboard could have been moved over while she was still in there.
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh? You're saying Kokichi that somebody could have come back to life and they had a specific ultimate that would have allowed for this?
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What?
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that. Screw spirits.
So, what could Kokichi be trying to say here? I don't think he's literally talking about a ghost. That's not what he means by spirit. What he means by Angie's spirit is somebody who's carrying on the spirit of Angie killed Tenko. So, why would somebody who's carrying on the spirit of Angie want to kill Himiko. If Angie had some sort of resentment towards, sorry, not Himiko, towards Tenko, then that would be why. Or if Tenko was somehow involved in killing Angie. That's also possible, right? Then say that could have been a killing of revenge. Like, let's say Tenko killed Angie. And then Himiko kills Tenko or something? Like, it could have been something like that. In Tenko, it would have made some sense for her to kill Angie. Because she didn't like how Angie was brainwashing Himiko. But yeah, I think that's the kind of thing that Kokichi is getting at here. He's not talking about a little, like an actual ghost or anything like that. But maybe somebody else was trying to carry on Angie's legacy in killing Tenko.
Stop that now.
Or get revenge somehow. And we've only got ... dots from Himiko.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Yep.
Like I said, that's impossible. Spirits can't be culprits.
They can if you're not talking about a literal spirit. Somebody could be
Then explain how the
channeling
culprit killed
Angie
Tenko
or something.
under these impossible circumstances.
Wait. Is it possible? Oh, I think I just had I had a flash of inspiration. Let's say Tenko really did channel Angie. Angie was channeling went in Angie's spirit went into Himiko. Then Angie in Himiko's body, sorry, I keep saying Himiko, Tenko. Angie in Tenko's body opened up the floorboards, went underneath, found the sickle, went back above, and stabbed herself in the neck and like cut her own neck, then like tossed the blade away, and it said that she didn't die immediately from the wound. So she could have cut her own neck, tossed the blade away, slightly put back the floorboard, put herself back into position, and then died. And in that way, Angie could have gotten revenge for her own killing, for her own death. Like if, for example, she blamed Tenko for her death. Now, maybe Tenko really was the culprit. We don't know. But it's also possible that Angie just thought that Tenko was the culprit, and somebody else actually killed Tenko. That's possible. Like, let's say Angie was doing a seance with some other people, and maybe some other people included Himiko and Tenko or something, and then Himiko kills Angie. But Angie's spirit thinks that the killer of herself was Tenko for some reason, because Tenko was obviously she was not actually part of the student council or whatever. She'd be less trustworthy to her. I feel like I'm onto something now. And of course I trust Kokichi's judgment, so.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that.
I know. What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage?
I think that's also kind of true. But why are you getting so worked up, Kaito? Or maybe Kaito was the one who killed Angie. But yeah, Angie must have thought that it was Tenko, but yeah, I think Angie's spirit thought it was Tenko, but Kaito may have been the actual killer here. But
they were in there.
That doesn't explain why Himiko is behaving so weird.
The seance.
No, if there was someone else in the cage, we would have noticed.
I agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the same thing I was thinking about, Maki? Because I don't think you're the kind of person who would think of that kind of thing, but maybe. You do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
I think, is she bringing up the same idea as me? The they she's referring to. I think I know what you're referring to, yeah. You're talking about Angie. Angie's ghost? Okay. Fine, never mind. You actually meant Tenko herself. Where's Tenko herself then? Where's Tenko at? Am I blind? Am I actually blind? Where the heck is Tenko? Oh, there she is. Okay. I mean, it's the same thing either way. But I guess, whatever. I guess
referring to Tenko herself.
Yeah.
What did you say? Are you saying Tenko was the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Suicide?
Well, I think more specifically in this case, Angie.
It would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out.
I think in this situation, Kokichi might be more right, where it's Angie's spirit that killed Tenko. So I feel like my choice was right as well, but whatever.
She volunteered to be in the cage and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right?
Not necessarily. It was under the. It was far under the floor when we found it, but it wasn't necessarily there when she did the thing.
If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
And she had time to throw it somewhere else too. But now that the Himiko is still suspicious, and that's what I'm confused about. Like, why did she specifically choose this room? Why did she want to be the one to go in there and stab herself? Or whatever it was she was planning to do the seance, maybe.
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
I mean, like, Himiko originally wanted to be the one to do the seance. I don't know. I'm confused.
Perhaps that explains
Still.
why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Himiko, why don't you actually tell us what you know? It's so suspicious.
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right?
Yeah, I remember all this.
Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
Now, I don't know if I agree with this kind of simple explanation for everything, though.
What?
I think he's just proposing this explanation to try to pressure Himiko again. Because when you tell a lie that somebody knows is a lie, like, that's one of the easiest ways, that's one of the best ways to get somebody to actually explain something. Like, it happens all the time on the internet. If you want to get answers to a question, instead of actually asking the question, you just propose the wrong answer. And then a bunch of people will come to tell you why you're wrong. Because people will love to tell you why you're wrong on the internet. So as long as you just present the wrong answer in a public forum, everyone's going to go say, no, that's wrong because of this and that and this and that. Happens a lot on the War Thunder forums, where people will start leaking classified government documents just to prove that they're right.
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
So you can get plenty of information just by, like, saying something that's wrong to somebody who actually knows the real answer.
She wanted
True.
to hide the truth of her suicide.
But why would you do that?
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
I don't think that's true.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her. Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
But what are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that.
Then tell us the truth, Himiko. If you don't want Kokichi to continue spouting these lies, this nonsense, then you have to actually give us the real answer.
He told me.
Oh? We're getting information from you now? Keep your chin up and live life facing forward. Survive with me and everyone else.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
Is he gonna say that to believe with your heart again? Is he gonna say that?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
Okay, I mean, what you're saying is right, Kaito. I agree with what Kaito is saying here. Everybody's got their own secrets, and they don't necessarily have to just tell everybody all their secrets. And if they're not malicious secrets, then it's fine. Like, if you secretly like this or that, or you secretly do this or that, or whatever, I don't know. As long as it's not a malicious thing that you're doing, then that's fine. However, why is Kaito saying this? What he's saying is that he's actually talking about himself right now. He's saying that he has a secret behind himself. He's saying he doesn't think there's any malice behind his secret, but he has a secret that he doesn't want anybody to know. But I also don't believe that there's no malice behind it, because if he's willing to kill somebody to protect that secret, then in a way there's malice behind that secret, even if that secret's just something trivial. Why did you have to kill for it?
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Yeah.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
So you're saying you believed in Maki Roll, but if your belief turned out to be wrong, you're not the one. You're the one that's wrong, not her, or something. I don't understand what he's trying to say there.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Kimiko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down. That's what I want to believe.
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
Okay, but if that's not it, then what happened?
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
A proper reason.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said. Okay, Okay, everyone, I'll see you guys after the seance. Yeah. I don't think she would say that if she was gonna kill herself, but if she wanted to prove that, if she wanted us to think that she was murdered, then yes, she would say that kind of stuff. So I don't know. She said see you guys after. I doubt she had a sudden change of heart. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean that it was suicide. We shouldn't be satisfied with that, and if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. And that means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. I feel like we're coming up on a time to lie for some reason. Kate shell, blah blah blah, loose
So far,
floorboard.
suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
Yeah,
She
sure.
secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she
That's
threw
probably
the
the relevant
sickle
line.
underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
Everyone thinks that Tenko committed suicide, but only because they're latching onto the easiest answer. To get out of this, I need to make them think their suicide theory wouldn't work.
So far, suicide seems to be.
Okay, Monokuma file number 3, if I recall, says that she could have survived for a certain amount of time, right? Yeah, resulting in death. Where's her last moments one? It was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. Am I gonna lie about Tenko's last moments? I think that's the answer here.
Her plan was to take us down with her.
I forget, how do I lie again? What is the settings? No, no, wrong button, sorry. I think I hold it down, the button. I think that's it. Let me get some HP back.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have
Secretly brought the
sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor.
I missed. Darn it.
All the pieces fit.
Forgot how long that takes to charge.
suicide seems to be the best explanation.
That's okay. I'll get back there.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
That HP back.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she
Died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath
There we
the
go.
floor.
Nice. I was right. I forget, do we get our... I know it...
Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor.
I know it takes HP to do a lie. I don't know. I don't recall if we get our HP back if our lie is successful or not.
Because she died instantly.
Instantly?
Okay, and I think we I think the reason why we like confirmed with Maki there, told her to trust us, is because I think Maki was the one who told us that she wouldn't have necessarily died instantly. So I think we had to make sure that Maki was in on this lie before we told it. Yeah. Death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone far before she bled out.
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
What's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail. Tenko died instantly.
Thank you, Maki. Well, she's following up on her lie, so that's cool and all. So this is gonna get us away from the whole she killed herself quest line. But where is it gonna bring us?
What?
As an assassin, I specialize in killing my targets swiftly. I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
Thank you, Maki.
How could you forget that, Maki Roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
Excuse me?
It's okay, Kaito, really. No apology necessary. Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle. Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
Okay, but now who? So if we're assuming that it's not Angie's spirit, like, entering Tenko and then she kills herself, which did seem like a pretty valid possibility, honestly. And that leaves pretty much just Kaito.
Her suicide was considered
As
because
suspicious
we could
people.
not determine how she was killed.
No, there must have been a way. We're gonna figure it out.
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance? If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery.
Not a bad idea. We should remember what happened at the seance. Let me try to remember. I'm sure there's something. What's crazy is we've been doing this trial for like 2 hours now, but we're still not even on the actual murder case. We're still on Tenko's death. I need some kind of clue that will help me solve this mystery. Oh, the
Did
sound,
anything
right?
seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
There is some.
Okay, I think we do regain our HP from our
that
lie.
The seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song, I heard something fall.
Yep. That's probably the one we need to
I'm
shoot.
more concerned about how dark it got in there. I mean, it was totally pitch black.
My job was to
Light the candles. Moving along the walls was seriously tough.
It's pitch black during the seance. That limits what could have happened. Stay calm. Think there must be some kind of clue.
Did anything seem out
Okay,
of
so
the
are we talking
ordinary
about something
during
else
the
then?
seance?
There is something that
Cross
bothers me.
piece. Let me take a look at the cross piece again. It wasn't broken naturally. It looked like someone had purposely cut it. But I don't think the loud sound could have been somebody cutting the floorboard. That had to have happened earlier. Was there some way that they could have guided themselves to this spot, is what I want to know, in pitch darkness? I'm not sure.
The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song,
What does this one say again? Yeah, completely dark, okay.
I heard something fall, I think.
I'm more concerned about how dark it got in there. I mean, it was totally pitch black. My job was to relight the candles. Moving along the walls was seriously tough.
Okay. I think it is just sound during a seance then maybe? Go! Okay, good, that was
I
right.
agree.
There's not really any evidence though that we just presented
I
there.
think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
Yeah, we're just, she just said that she heard the sound. And then we're just saying, yes, I agree. That's right that you heard a sound because there was a sound. Like, okay. It's not really a supporting evidence. It's just saying we also heard the sound, I guess. I guess it is supporting evidence in that way.
It sounded like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard.
Could it have been... I don't know what it could have been.
What could have fallen down?
I mean, it could have been Tenko's body falling through the floorboards, but I don't think that's the case.
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
Am I wrong? I thought something fell, but...
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
A loud sound, like something hit the floorboards. Maybe that sound had something to do with the other thing that happened in the dark. What do you mean the other thing? Forehead injury? What caused the sound that was heard during the seance? Nothing here. Necronomicon. Oh, there's more here. Duct tape, caged child. Flashlight, hole in the corner, dog statue. Could the dog statue have fallen? Tokyo drawing, iron cage, marker stone, loose floorboard? This is what I'm thinking.
This is it! I think the floorboard coming off had something to do with that sound.
But it didn't look like it like completely came off. It's just like they misaligned it. So it shouldn't have made that big of a sound.
That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
But it wouldn't make such a huge sound.
Could the floorboard have made such a loud sound?
Yeah.
It was the sound of an intense impact.
Maybe something bonking the floorboard really hard to get it out of place?
If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
That is true. There would have been would have had to be a strong impact to make that sound. But what was it? What was it? What could it possible be? Okay, that wasn't me not understanding how to read. That's just the sentence doesn't make sense. What could it possibly be?
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now.
Okay, here we go.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
You know what's good about this specific trial so far? We haven't had any of those like Hangman's Gambit style things. It's just been mostly these non-stop debates, which are some of the most fun parts of the trials. And so I am happy about that, although we're only halfway there. Not even. We haven't even reached the halfway point yet. So I'm sure there's plenty of time for that later.
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that
This is
person
probably
tore
it, right?
the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
Let me see what this says exactly. Quite far from where Tenko's blood was dripping. Okay.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
Stomped through the floorboard. I mean, that's what I was thinking,
When
yeah.
you step on it is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have any experience with balls to say that, Mew.
Don't be stupid. Don't you know me and Balls are the best of friends?
Okay, so what are we saying here exactly? What would have made a strong enough impact to knock the floorboard loose? If I think about everyone's testimony and combine it with the facts...
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been
Sickle...
considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
wouldn't make such a
Circle.
loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden
The
statue
cross piece
fell over.
itself that they cut off?
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
Could it
But
be
we
this one,
already
or is
said
it
there
the
was
dried
no one
blood
under
of the
the
floor
floor.
thing? Like, let's try this.
Someone must have stomped through the floor.
Okay, apparently I was right. So are we saying that they used like the cross piece as a battering ram or
Kokichi's
something?
Right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
But floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
When we first saw the room, yes. But when I looked again during the investigation, one of the cross pieces supporting the floorboards was cut off. After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they do that?
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the cross piece?
Well, they would have access from below, from under the ground, to where the person would be during a seance. What do they stand to gain? That's the question. To solve this case, I'll need to think carefully about the crosspiece and floorboard. Ingo's body was at one end of the loose floorboard, so it would have been hard to push up on that side, basically. And the crosspiece that had been cut was on the other end of the floorboard. The unsupported part was outside the cage, so it could have been stomped on. And that would have given them enough leverage from that side to move it aside. Only one of the cross pieces was cut, the other two were intact. One of them was right under Tenko, and the other was in the center, right about where the edge of the cage was. I guess they would have needed a lot of force since the cage was dropped on it as well. What was the culprit attempting to achieve by stomping on the floorboard? Oh, here we go. Now we got it. I don't know, but S maybe? Okay. SE? I don't know what I'm looking for. Seance? No. Can't regain health in this one. C? I don't know what we're saying here. What happened when the loose floorboard was stepped on? Seesaw? I don't know what the next part of the word is though. Seesaw. F? No. Crap. Oh darn, I think I'm just gonna be dead here. T? Okay, no, we're dead. Well, there's our first game over of the trial. It took us a while though to get here. Damn, I made too many mistakes. Do they think I did it? Done debating already? Well, next part's mandatory, so let's get it over with. It's voting time.
Is this?
Retry.
We can't let it end here.
All right, try this again. At least we know it's seesaw at the start. All right, seesaw what? What do we want next? I think we tried F, right? What about C? E? E? seesaw effect? Okay. There we go. There we go. Well, at least we got there eventually.